Young Turks Elections 2014.
Hello and welcome to Young Turks, the show that's been highlighting entrepreneurial excellence for the past 12 years. I'm Shireen Bhan. As more than 800 million Indians gear up to vote in the world's biggest democratic exercise to constitute the 16th Lok Sabha, we decided to bring you a special election series through the month of April. This show will put the spotlight on young leaders who've plunged into the rough and tumble of politics to be the change that they want to see, or so they claim. We attempt to find out if these young guns have new ideas to change India's political destiny and how they really plan to work the system to effect that change. On the show today, activist, actor Gul Panag of the Aam Aadmi Party, and later on the show, Anurag Thakur, the young MP from the Bharatiya Janata Party. First, here's a look at Gul's story. A former Miss India Universe, an actor, an activist, a powerful opinion maker, and now a politician. These are the many faces of 35-year-old Gul or Gul Panag. Born into a second-generation armed forces family in Chandigarh, Gul has lent her support to many causes. She began her own NGO, the Colonel Shamsher Singh Foundation, in 2009 that works towards promoting citizen-government partnership towards issues of gender equality, education and employment. The Aam Aadmi Party's candidate for the 16th Lok Sabha from the constituency of Chandigarh, Gul has quite literally bulleted her way into politics. An influential voice on social media, this young achiever is now gearing up for her first political battle with her motto, Citizens of Chandigarh First. Gul Panag, thanks very much for joining us on Young Turks. Let me start by asking you about when you actively considered getting into the big bad world of politics from the big bad world of Bollywood. I know you've been active on Twitter, I know you've lent your support to many causes, but why the decision to consider shifting to politics, and when did you really consider making that shift?
It was a natural extension of the work that I have done to actually be part of a movement, part of a platform that's trying to bring about change in the political system, in a political system that's completely digging at the roots, a political system that has foundations like corruption, crony capitalism, communalism, casteism, and dynasty politics.
You know, Gul, I'm sure you've been asked this question, but let me ask you this again. Every election we see people from the world of Bollywood, sports, entertainment get into the world of politics. It's no exception this time. There's you, there's Paresh Rawal, there's Munmun Sen, there's superstar Dave. There's a whole bunch of other people from the world of arts and entertainment, including the likes of Rakhi Sawant. The list is long and perhaps not so distinguished. Some question the commitment of people like you because they believe that performers don't consider politics to be a full-time job. They continue to live their lives in television studios and not really in parliament. So how are you different, and is this now going to be a full-time job for you? Are you giving up on the world of entertainment altogether?
The question of commitment, I don't think should be and can be industry specific. There has been precedents of people coming forward and not following through, but that holds true for people from all professions. It's difficult for me to comment on the commitment levels of other people, but as far as I'm concerned, being a member of parliament, I believe, is a full-time job, and I will be based out of Chandigarh once elected, and as and when time permits, I may take out a bit of time, but my commitment will be to be based out of Chandigarh and will be to the people of Chandigarh.
Gul, I want to talk to you specifically about the promises that you are making to your constituency. Your motto is Citizens of Chandigarh First. You've promised a whole bunch of things. First in safety, security, quality of public transportation, job opportunities, first in industrial growth and entrepreneurial development. But can I ask you to elaborate for us, how do you intend positioning Chandigarh as the first in all of these areas? What are the ideas that you have? What is the execution plan? Because promises on paper look great, but very often Indian politicians fall short of the how-to. So give us a sense of the how-to as far as your promises are concerned.
Chandigarh, unlike other constituencies, has the potential and the available infrastructure to be able to deliver on all this. These are not promises that are made sort of in the air. We already have the infrastructure to support 80% of what I have outlined some of which you mentioned. For example, the question of women's safety and security. If our CTU service, a bus service that all of us who have grown up here have taken, if that is revamped to bring it back to its former glory and taken a step beyond and truly made into a world-class service with regular connectivity all across the city, 50% of the problems faced by women in Chandigarh will be eliminated. Police reform is a critical pillar of ensuring not just better safety and security for women, but better safety and security for the whole city. A police force that has no predefined work hours, no predefined promotion mandate ahead of them in terms of service, and doesn't have housing. A police force that is not motivated is hardly likely to be able to eliminate any doubts when it comes to crime. This is a city that has the infrastructure to ensure that public health facilities, starting from the primary healthcare centers moving up to our specialty hospitals like PGI, can be at par with private hospitals. And if it's not possible in a city like Chandigarh, it is definitely not conceivable in the rest of India.
Gul, you raise the gender sensitivity issue very often. Let me ask you this. What's been the experience of being a woman in politics? Because I found the discourse around your campaign somewhat patronizing. It's been about you and Kiran Kher and how this is a battle of the two dimples and whose dimples are better and so on and so forth. I find it patronizing. What's your experience been?
I don't just think that it's patronizing, it's condescending and downright disrespectful. To call this contest, as a lot of your friends in the media have done, a contest of ladies versus Pawan Bansal, in fact, I think is as derogatory as it can get. The point is, this is not about men versus women. This is ultimately a matter of representation of the people, and if that is not being respected, I think there's some serious flaw in the way we report and the way we perceive things. So how is it to be a woman in politics? Well, I'm only just finding out, but I can tell you one thing, that the day my candidature was announced, it was the BJP that went on a social media attack trying to post morph pictures, not even trying, posting morph pictures of mine on Twitter, for which they received considerable flack, not just from the other parties, but from their own party supporters, which of course then they were forced to take down and apologize for.
You know, Gul, you said your foray into politics is an extension of your activism. Why didn't you consider joining the BJP or the Congress? The BJP under Narendra Modi is talking about development. The Congress under Rahul Gandhi is talking about building a model of participative democracy within the party and even outside. Why didn't you decide on either of those two parties, and why the Aam Aadmi Party?
You can find these interviews on record where I've said in the past that at present there doesn't exist a party system that is open to people without significant wealth and significant family name. And that was true till this one man came and upset the apple cart, and that man's name is Arvind Kejriwal. Why not, for example, the Congress party? Well, simply because the very fact that one has seen complete lack of leadership from their end is proof of the fact that they're not quite looking to welcome people who have any kind of an opinion. Everybody within the party is forced to ultimately praise and promote just one person and one name, and the scary thing is the other party is also heading that way.
What if things don't go as per your plan? Is it back to armchair activism, or do you intend to continue to try and find ways of engaging with the political class and the world of politics?
The fact that I have been in Chandigarh for the last 4 years now, running this foundation that we run, is probably, I would say, I wouldn't call it proof, but I would say an indication of the commitment that I have to work towards all this. And the important thing also to keep in mind here is, Shireen, that I have jumped into this, some would call a murky world in what is the prime of my youth. And that is something which should be an indication of time to come. I am definitely in it for the long run, and the long run, according to me, is probably the next 20-25 years.
Gul, wishing you the very best of luck as you make your political debut. We hope that people like you who are committed to bringing about a change do find their way into Indian politics. On that note, it is time for us to take a break. But when we return, another young leader who's battling it out for the third time from the grounds of Hamirpur in Himachal Pradesh. BJP's young MP Anurag Thakur on Young Turks.
Young Turks Elections 2014.